Welcome to the news with history in mind. The news segment bringing you the latest on the global stage. I am Jenny, an AI avatar, selected by the editor of this channel to be your host on History in Mind. Our main topics for today: U.S. ships in the East Mediterranean Sea. Israeli ships now deployed to the Red Sea to confront the Houthis. Jordan pulled out their ambassador out of Israel. North Korea sending weapons to Hamas. The Egyptian army is sending tanks to the Rafah border crossing. Putin is sending a special envoy to Iran to meet the head of Security Council. China is sending an immense amount of planes right into Taiwan. The United States of America House Resolution 559. Let's get to the news. The Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group is headed toward the assembly of U.S. naval power in the eastern Mediterranean Sea after transiting the Strait of Gibraltar. Meanwhile, two ships of the Bataan Amphibious Ready Group are now in the Red Sea. The U.S. Navy confirmed aircraft carrier USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, CVN-69, and its escorts made the transit via social media. The Ike Carrier Strike Group, which includes Arleigh Burke-class destroyers USS Gravely and USS Mason and Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser USS Philippine Sea, deployed October 14 with carrier Air Wing 3 embarked. The strike group was first set to operate with USS Gerald R. Ford and its escorts on the eastern Mediterranean. Ford has been there since June as part of the U.S. continued presence operation in the region that began in December of 2021 but was moved closer to the coastline following the Hamas operation of October 7. Meanwhile, USS Bataan and USS Carter Hall entered the Red Sea from the Gulf of Aden. The two ships are headed to join amphibious warship USS Mesa Verde. The 26th Marine Expeditionary Unit is embarked across the three warships. The current plan, as outlined by the U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, will move the Eisenhower through the Suez Canal into U.S. Fifth Fleet. It will be the first time a U.S. carrier strike group will operate in the Middle East since USS Ronald Reagan left the region following the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. The massing of ships in the eastern Mediterranean will be the largest collection of U.S. warships in decades. The naval buildup is intended to deter the conflict in the Gaza Strip to expand to other places. U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria have come under attacks from forces aligned with Hamas. In addition to the U.S. forces, the French and UK have sent warships. French amphibious warship Tonnerre will join two guided missile frigates in the region, while the UK had dispatched Ant Bay-class landing ship dock RFA Lime Bay and the auxiliary ship RFA Argus. More in the news. The Israeli military had deployed missile boats in the Red Sea as reinforcements, a day after the Houthis movement said it had launched missile and drone attacks on Israel and vowed to carry out more. Israel sees the Red Sea as a new front as its war in Gaza draws support from aligned pro-Hamas forces elsewhere in the region. The Houthis movement said they had launched 3 drone and missile attacks towards Israel since the start of the Israel-Hamas war on October 7. It vowed there would be more such attacks to come to help the Palestinians to victory. Up next on the news. Jordan on Wednesday announced it had recalled its ambassador from Israel and told the Israeli ambassador to stay away in protest at the Israeli bombardment of Gaza, saying the attacks had killed innocents and caused a humanitarian catastrophe. The ambassador would only return to Tel Aviv if Israel halted its war on the enclave and ended the humanitarian crisis it has caused, Foreign Minister of Jordan Ayman Safadi said. This is to express Jordan's stance that rejects and condemns the Israeli war on Gaza that kills innocents and is causing an unprecedented humanitarian catastrophe. The decision was also taken by the Jordanian government because Israel was depriving Palestinians of food, water and medicines after it imposed a siege on the enclave following an assault by Hamas on Israel on October 7. More in the news. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has ordered officials to support Palestinians and could be considering selling weapons to militant groups in the Middle East, according to South Korea's spy agency. North Korea has sold anti-tank rocket launchers to Hamas in the past, and there is a possibility Pyongyang will attempt to export more weapons amid the war in Gaza, South Korean lawmakers said after a briefing by the agency. South Korea's military has said that, based on photos and videos of the October 7 attack, Hamas appeared to be using various North Korean weapons. Pyongyang has dismissed the allegations as false. Also in the news, Egypt has deployed tanks and other armored vehicles on its territory in the area of the Rafah border crossing near the Gaza Strip. Dozens of armored vehicles along the border with the Gaza Strip. These measures are related to the fact that Egypt, fearing an influx of tens of thousands of refugees due to the escalation of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, has so far kept the border closed, allowing only trucks with humanitarian aid to enter the Gaza Strip. In the diplomatic arena, Russian President's special envoy for Syria Alexander Lavrentiev handed over Vladimir Putin's message to his Iranian counterpart President Ebrahim Raisi through the Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. During his trip to the Iranian capital city of Tehran, Lavrentiev met and held talks with Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council Ali Akbar Ahmadian. The two sides discussed the latest developments in the region, the situation in Gaza, and the ways of cooperation between the two countries under such circumstances. Lavrentiev conveyed the message of Russian President Vladimir Putin to Ahmadian to hand over to the Iranian president. Also in the news, Taiwan said Wednesday that China sent 43 military aircraft and 7 ships near the self-ruled island, the latest sign that Beijing plans no let-up in its campaign of intimidation. Taiwan's defense ministry said the figure was current for the 24 hours up to 6 a.m. Wednesday and that 37 of the aircraft had crossed the median line in the Taiwan Strait, which China no longer recognizes as an informal divider between the sides. It said Taiwan had monitored the situation, scrambled jet fighters, dispatched ships and activated land-based missile systems, all standard responses to Chinese military activities, which include crossing into Taiwan's air defense identification zone but not into its actual airspace. Such Chinese maneuvers have become frequent since then U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan in August 2022. China suspended military communication with the U.S. to show its displeasure over her trip to Taiwan, which Beijing considers part of its territory to be brought under its control. Final segment of the news. House Resolution 559. House Resolution 559 of the United States of America, declaring it is the policy of the United States that a nuclear Islamic Republic of Iran is not possible. This was a vote to agree to House Resolution 559 in the House on November 1, 2023. On motion to suspend the rules and agree in the House. This vote was taken under a House procedure called suspension of the rules, which is typically used to pass non-controversial bills. Votes under suspension require a third majority. A failed vote under suspension can be taken again. And that statement might result in more tensions in the Middle East. Thank you for watching. This was Jenny AI with History in Mind.